Awesome. I'm so glad that no one's on there. You guys are watching this video. There's no one on Zoom, so I might not focus on this. All right, how's everyone doing?
Good, right?
Good. You guys ready to hear me rant for a little while?
Absolutely.
This shouldn't be too long. We'll kind of run through it. And I'll give you a basic outline of what we're going to go through. You're going to be on this page for a while. It's page 4. Pretty much going to be, this is going to be your home for the next at least 30 minutes. So. Let's see here. Let's see if I can use it. I'm not good with computers, so if there seems to be a struggle. All right. How many people, most of you guys have been to other night classes? Is this anyone's first night class? Yours? That's actually kind of perfect. This is technically the second class, and I'm doing it way later.
Okay.
So, we need a ton of people on Zoom now. All right, cool. If you guys on Zoom, can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up.
You sound good, man.
All right, cool.
I can hear you.
Not read your guys's stuff that you guys send. So when I ask for ahas, if either you guys can read other people's ahas on there or just speak up, that'd be fantastic. Every time I try and do the chat too, it destroys, it goes right in the middle of the slide for everyone else here. So. Yeah. You get purple or flat?
I'm waiting for this or light.
Oh, it's all right. I wear salmon a lot. They call it pink. So this is kind of like the first. This was meant to be the second thing. It is by far the most important thing that we do is lead gen. You'll hear it all the time. It's also the number one thing that we don't want to do. Right? Let's be honest. Like how many people are in here because they'd rather be doing this than making calls? We call those students the vacationers. And then, yeah.
I actually was like, should I come or should I leave you?
Yeah.
Should I come or should I leave you?
Yeah. Well, we'll end early so you still have time to lead gen. Well, here's the thing about lead gen and how I do my calendar. I build my business in the morning and I service it in the afternoon. I'm very diligent about my time and I'm very lucky that I have a huge sphere of influence, and I almost only do sphere of influence, but we will talk about other lead generation models, right? I only started doing that this year, and my business is going huge from me focusing back on sphere versus and calling all my friends and family, just asking how they are, and we'll get into that. But we're mostly going to be talking today about lead generation. We're just talking about this one: grow your business, lead generation for buyers and sellers. And we're going to talk about the pipeline. And as you guys can see on that page, we're going to go through this funnel. And Command kind of takes us through this funnel. I use Command primarily. I use it at a pretty high level. Do you guys still use Command? You guys using Command? Okay. I didn't know because if you guys had something already set up. So yeah, that is definitely something we're going to focus on. It says that the total time for this class is going to be 4 hours. It is not going to be 4 hours, just so you guys know at all. The agenda today is through lead generations. We're going to talk about lead generation model, how to lead gen, database, and sales pipeline, which in our system is called opportunities, right? And I feed opportunities as much as possible almost every single day. And we'll go over what that actually looks like and what I see it as. So you got to remember, these classes are general for not just the nation, but the world. These are set classes. So I will tell you how I do it and also how they say it, just to give that basis. It's up to you to figure out what works for you. The second part is building daily habits. It says that this 3-hour session, it's not gonna take 3 hours. That's building your database. We'll go over that towards the end. We'll walk through a command towards the end. Script practice. I do a pretty easy script practice. I also practice every single morning Usually Mondays, I didn't do it today because we're doing this, but Monday through Thursday with the coaching group I'm in. These guys are on that group. And then lead generation and sometimes contract practice if it's like not filled into. When it comes to the big picture, understanding lead generation model provides a large vision of interconnections, interconnected tasks and habits, and how they help you fund your big why. Does anyone not clear on their big why? Has anyone not cried thinking about their big why? Because if you do, you should. You should dive a little deeper and find out why.
One tier.
One tier?
Yeah.
Justin, have me clear that take. And to figure out what drives us and what makes us really want to do things is a huge, huge, powerful moment in your life. Like you'll figure out why you're motivated to do things, and whys can change, but your big why is typically the same, right? What do you guys, can I hear from about 3 people what you guys think about this whole process of prospecting versus marketing, leads, contacts, cultivates, appointments, all that? And we're going to break this all down and the difference in between capture and connected. But does anyone have any questions or comments that they want to make? If I unplug this, this is going horrible. Computer's gonna, sorry guys. Anyone share their big whys and or, I know it's a little vulnerable, or just any questions or comments that they have about this model?
Kind of a numbers game, like a batting average.
Yeah, yeah. A great way is think about it, and you'll hear this in sales a lot, is if you think about every phone call you make as equating to a certain amount of money. So if I know that if I want to set 2 appointments, I need to make 4 opportunities a week. In order to make 4 opportunities a week, I need to call about 80 people. If I'm going to get 2 appointments and I close on, I usually sign, at this point, I have a higher than average than what I did before, but if I only signed 1 of those appointments and that 1 appointment equal 10,000, I can break it down to find out how much every single call is worth. And if it's worth on, if 80 calls, let's say 100 calls out of, I may have to make 100 calls a week in order to get $10,000. That's about, is that $100 a call? So I know that every time I pick up the phone and make a call, every second that I do that is $100. So if I spend 3 hours lead genning and I'm calling 20 people a day for 5 days to make those calls, every single minute that I'm doing that, those 2 hours, I'm making like $2,000 an hour. So it's just something to think about and a way to think about it. Everyone doesn't want to pick up the phone, but when you break it down to what each call is worth, and I'll tell you right now, almost every call I didn't want to make and was uncomfortable making, more of those turned into business than other ones. So just food for thought. When you're uncomfortable, that's usually when you grow. With this kind of model, you guys need to think about your big why, and lead generating is the way that you fund your big why. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to have 100 acres in the mountains. I want to have a wife, kids, and I want to be able to teach their schools and build this amazing family. No one have to stress about anything. And my kids be able to be free to be able to do whatever they want, right? So with those goals and dreams, that's going to take a lot of money. So I have pretty lofty, people say I have crazy goals, but I don't think it, I think they have smaller goals. But with that, I know when I'm breaking it down and what I'm doing every single day, I look at a vision board, I see all that, and I realize like, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to work on. I mean, you make those calls. I also write in a journal every single morning about my whys. I write 10 things that I'm grateful for. I write 3 things that make me happy in the last 24 hours. And I write my 10 goals. I break them down from business to physical. My last one is always wife, kids, and family. And then I kind of star that one because that's the big reason I do all of it. And then I write my financial goal for the month, for my monthly income. For me, I'm starting 2022 today. Like that actually started Friday for me. It starts 3 months ahead of time. There's going to be a lot of like business planning clinics and stuff like that coming up. That's why, because you should start your business now for next year. So you're actually making money in January, February, March, where it's hard. That's also why we're doing bold business objections, life by design. That's why we're doing it this month, is to get you set up so you have a good start of the year. It's not so you end the year good. It's so you start the year great. You might end the year good because of it, but you're going to start great, because those are the times when people slow down. With that said, the last thing I write is I am $40,000 or more a month. And I write that 25 times in the morning, along with those other things in my journal. And then I write at night another 15 times, because that's all the lines I provide. And I say it out loud. I look at my vision board when I'm not believing. So we will work on doing a vision board thing soon. So you guys know I keep mentioning all that. So on page 4, this isn't all the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. This is the model for it, lead generation model. It's probably the most important. And it's what Bold's kind of about, right? Bold's all about sparking that up and getting it going. We're going to talk about lead generated activities, database activities, sales pipeline activities. Sales pipeline activities are your opportunities in command. And for those of you that got to see me and Steven's class on opportunities that we did on how I capped in 60 days, I actually capped in less than 60 days. If you guys saw that, it was all about how I gamified my business and moved things along.
How long have you been in this industry?
20 months. No, I'm just kidding. It's been 4 years. I just passed 4 years. Like 2 days. I started off my business really creative. And by creative, I just didn't know what I was doing. And I was running around, had no systems and models. And I only started systems and models this year. And I've already surpassed what I've made every year. And I still have tons under contract. I have another 70,000 under contract. Most of it's going to close next year. It's going to be, I thought it was going to close in December, but their new builds are getting pushed out. So instead of Hanukkah being lit, my February is going to be awesome. So it's just one of those things, like things move around, but I'm not stressed about it because I have a big pipeline. Best question ever. How did I start off creative? I didn't use systems and models. I didn't have a spreadsheet. I was randomly calling who I could. I had piles of paper hoping that I could keep it organized. I started doing flips. So I was knocking on doors of pre-foreclosures. I was knocking on 10 doors a day. I didn't have a system to even follow up with those people. And those people, like, that's a lot of work for very little reward and people that are in a very bad situation. Unless you're actually the person doing the flip, it's not the best way to get business. There's way easier ways. You could go knock on doors that expired and you're going to get twice as much business. And from people that actually want to sell their houses versus people that are mad at you for coming and trying to vulture on them losing their house, right? In reality, we tried to get them a good space. I always give them options of, you'll make more money if we list your house, or have an investor, 3 different investors right here that'll give you cash. And they always wait until last minute, almost always wait until last minute and almost lost their house, and they got way less from an investor than listing it. But that's their journey, not mine. It started hurting my soul, and that's why I stopped doing it. I did make 100 grand in the first year just by doing that. I also was a buyer's agent, started off as showing assistant and buyer's agent for a team that no longer exists. And then, but I was very creative. And then after that, I was paying for FSBOs, expires, doing all that kind of stuff. I love FSBOs and expires, they're great. But I kept getting told by Art, Steven, Justin, everyone in the office, like, how many people you have in your phone? I was like 2,500. They're like, what? 2,500 people? I was like, yeah. They're like, why aren't you calling them? I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like too scared to call the people I love. Now I call all of them. I broke it down to core people, so people that know me, like me, and love me, and know me and what I do, and that ended up being about 800 people. I kind of filtered it down to more priority. I'm gonna build that up with the other, 1,400. I started off during COVID doing a care text that I set up on smart plans. The first smart plan I did. I would definitely say, I will always say from a book called Secrets of Millionaire Mind, every master comes from disaster. Very disastrous. smart plan. I sent out 200 texts a day for 2 weeks to get through it all and to get through all my contacts. And I had people text me about who is this, that, because it wasn't my phone number. And I put my name on the first one. So like they had no clue. And then I was texting back like hundreds of people a day. And it was a lot of work to do on command and stuff like that. Was it successful? Highly. I still got a ton of business from it. Could I have done it better? Absolutely. Do I know better now? Yes. Am I sad I did it? No, not at all. I ended up deleting 400 people, which were perfect. I don't need those people, right? But that's what started me getting into systems and models and starting putting people and reaching out to my sphere and people you know. Your sphere should be the #1 people that you talk to first. Your beginning of your day should be calling the people you love. I start the day by calling people on their birthday. I have a birthday smart plan. We'll get into this, but that's how I start my day. I sing to people. I have a horrible voice. It's fantastic. They get a kick out of it. I get a kick out of it. It puts me in a good mood. And then I start calling everyone else. And I just do forward. You know, how's your family, occupation, recreation, dreams? Anyways, we'll get into that a little later.
What
Yeah.
habits help you with that system?
We're gonna get all into
Okay,
that. Yeah.
okay.
I want to kind of stay on track to their track. Otherwise, I'll just rant for 2 hours. Here's something I highlight for you guys. Not only are they working to get new leads, but they are working to get new repeats, referral business from their sphere of influence. Their sphere of influence are people that they already know. That's what I was just talking about. So what it says by this is lead generation versus contact, right? And I'm gonna kind of skipping ahead, but nonetheless, that's right here actually. So lead gen, that's good follow. Lead gen is a lead is someone that you don't really know, right? I don't particularly work too much with leads unless I do a Facebook ad or some kind of campaign with my listings and stuff like that. Or something to get buyers from Facebook. I use command, right? Contacts is what I mostly have. Connecting and offering, right? Interactive and value-based touch program. I'm calling them and just sending out love, finding out what they need, if there's anything that I can do for them and those kinds of things, right? Once you have someone, you can take them from a lead to a contact. The difference is exactly once a lead or a contact has raised their hands to do business and identified a timeline to close, they go into cultivate. So once one of these has identified that they realize that they need something and they want to go from contact to cultivate, which is when they become in your opportunities, when they go from these to that is right when they tell you that they want to do something in business. If someone tells me, so when I make these calls, I say hi, this and that. They tell me that they want to buy, sell, or invest in the next 2 years. I immediately put their name in opportunities, which is cultivate stage. And I then see them as someone I need to follow up for business. They just told me that they want to do business. They're hinting towards me. It's my job to follow up. Just so you know, every single person you call wants to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. They just don't know how. I don't try and get that out of them. I don't try and get them to do it sooner. But any time frame that someone tells you, I say this all the time, any time frame that someone tells you, you can divide it in half. I immediately throw out like, hey, when can we sit down and talk about that? If you're interested, even if it's 2 years from now, I take all the stress off. Let's sit down, come to my office. We can sit down, we can talk about it, go through the process, and at least leave you something to think about. That's an artism. He says this all the time. That's how he gets appointments. We can at least leave you with something to think about. It means that you're not trying to sign on that day, although you better have your contracts written already, and you better be ready to sign them, because that is the most powerful statement. It takes all the stress off. You do not need to be a pushy salesman to do good in this business. In fact, it's going to backfire on people, in my opinion. I don't have that personality. I have a lot of love in my heart. I know I look like a grizzly bear, but like I'm more of a teddy bear. So like they laugh because they know. But yeah, so like it's just one of those things. You need to come with contribution, and you need to be there to help them. Jose Bonilla, he did last year, he did 101 deals. He's one of my personal coaches. He's also like a brother to me. He sends out Facebook messages every single day, like, hey, how's it going? Says their name, hey, how's it going? Is there anything I can do for you? And then if they're in real estate, they're like, oh, well, I'm a real estate agent too. Like, awesome. How's your business going? Because he's a coach, right? Like, he's like, awesome. How you doing? I recruit for the office. So I would immediately be like, awesome. We can sit down and talk about building your business. So like, it's just one of those things. Every single person you talk to does want to do something. It's whether they're comfortable then. So don't stress it if you have to sell them on anything. You don't have to sell them on literally anything. They will tell you and they will hint towards you. Listen for those hints. There's a reason that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Which is hard to say when I'm up here just talking. That not move at all. All right, so we kind of jumped into this, but lead generation is the life of an agent's business. It should never stop. Lead generation is purposeful and intentional, and should move you closer to your goals and is part of your larger strategy. What does that really mean, right? If you stop lead genning, your business is stopping dramatically. If you start feeling overwhelmed with the business you have, you need to make a better to-do list and make systems and checklists. And that's when you need to reach out to someone like me, or honestly, Steven. I mean, he's our tech coordinator. We're pretty blessed. Like, I can tell you right now, I'm lucky if I can turn on a light switch, and that dude has got me using command at a high level with all sorts of tasks. I also now use Art and Leslie Jackson's program for social proof, and they're doing like, for all my listing stuff, they're taking over they're pretty much, she's making command my boss and telling me what to do, which is incredible. It keeps me on track. And then I don't have to think about when I need to do something. Does anyone have any questions about leads versus contacts? And we'll get into how to get them in a minute, but does anyone have any? Because I'll be honest, when I first started at KW, or just in real estate in general, I've always been here, but I did not know the difference between contact and a leads, right? These people don't really know you yet. These people know you and love you, right? No, maybe not love, but you know what I mean. Like, they all love me according to my mom. So, but like, these are still you're working on, and then they go into contacts, and then they go into cultivate. I keep showing the screen. Oh, you guys can see it on. Oh, I went too far. There's no video. All right. I don't know how to do that video. This is the third time I've not been able to do the video work. All right. Anyways, can anyone tell me why lead generation is important? I just described it.
Because if you're not doing it, your business stops.
Exactly.
Your business is stopped.
Yeah. So it's really important to know when you're going to do things. Like, I have a very strict schedule. I work on lead gen in the morning. I take a very long lunch, take like an hour and 15. If I'm not meeting someone for lunch, I'm eating, and then what I call recharging. It could be either, I'm a huge guy on meditation. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at most of the things I do. I just keep doing them. And eventually this disaster is going to turn into a master, right? So I'll transcend to whatever yoga stuff gets you. But I just keep working on it, right? It's called a practice for a reason. I also sometimes will just straight up take a nap, like a 30-minute nap. I'll chug caffeine, I'll lay down. My dog snuggles the best during the day. He like lays on me, it's adorable. I'll go home, eat real fast, because eating doesn't take an hour. I'll eat real fast, and then I'll get a little snuggle time in, recharge, and come back to work. Have you seen me eat? It is crazy how fast. You're right though, because the service industry, I eat so fast, it's actually a problem. So yeah, it doesn't take me 30 minutes to eat. It takes me like 2 minutes. It's kind of embarrassing. Something I gotta learn to not do, especially on dates. What is the goal of lead generation? What do you guys think is the goal for lead generation? I'll tell you what it is for me. What do you think?
Increase revenue.
Increase revenue?
Build more connections.
Build more connections and leads?
Because can you turn a lead into a connection?
a
not?
contact.
A
Yeah,
contact?
yeah, absolutely. The whole goal is to take a lead from lead to cultivate.
Okay.
It then is a contact,
Okay.
right? It's just in our systems, if you check lead, it's signifying that's something that you don't know.
Okay, because I mean, 2 months ago, lead generation was a term I've been reading here before.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and I will talk about lead measures versus lag measures.
okay,
Ironically, working on your leads is your lead measure.
okay.
Does that make sense? But it
does.
means leads like the beginning measure versus the last measure.
Okay.
Like businesses that look at their volume and just their profitability are looking at their business in a rear view mirror. There's a great book called 4 Disciplines of Execution. It talks about building a team and how to like do everything. And that you need 2 to 3 main goals, no more, preferably 2 or just 1, which is your wildly, they call it WIGs, wildly important goals. And my wildly important goal is to create so many appointments or make, it could be even as small as I need so many opportunities. Because before, a few months ago, it was really, my WIGs were to get 1 person into opportunities a day when I'm making calls, and then just set 2 appointments a week, right? Those were my wildly important goals, because those are the very beginning of my business. If I do those things, the rest of the shit will follow. Because I already calculated, if I, at my worst, want to get here, I need to do these things. And these things will get me at least to here, if not further. Am I gonna be mad if I make twice as much as I originally meant to? Absolutely not. So lead versus lag measures, but yes. So to answer your question,
You did.
I'm going around. What else do you guys think that is the goal of lead generation?
What's gonna grow your business?
Grow your business?
It's the fire with the fuel is the fire is very anger.
Yeah, it's what fuels the fire, right? Good
Relationships.
build relationships. I'll tell you right now, the biggest reason to lead gen is reduce your stress. How stressed are you about your next month builds? How stressed are you about what you're gonna do in 2 months from now? The reason I lead gen, and it's kind of a weird reason, but it's all to like relieve stress. This is a stressful business. You don't know when you're gonna make money. So the biggest thing, I learned this from one of Grant Cardone's books. The biggest way to relieve stress in this industry and know where money is coming from is to have too much coming. Like if I have a ton of business coming, I know that I'm gonna pay my bills, right? And if I make more money, that's great. But if I just constantly lead gen, that's in that book, yeah. If I constantly lead gen, he does push Scientology quite a bit, like a lot. He's like personal friends with my mom. It's crazy. They try and like corner me on shit. My mom is. That's another subject. It's okay if someone is. Freedom of religion. Yeah, I'm like Jewish.
So it sounds
What
like
is-
Ish. I'm not kosher. I love that. Ish, yeah, I hunt things that are not kosher.
It sounds like it's the how to for the why.
It's a how-to for the why, exactly. God, that's awesome. Nice. You're gonna be teaching this class soon. All right. What do you guys think lead generation looks like for a successful agent? And what's your definition of successful agent? Everyone here probably is most likely, I don't know what it is about 100,000, but I got set in that mindset that I need 100,000 GCI. And I was there the last 3 years. I'm already gone there this year. Now I'm trying to surpass it. I was hoping to double it, but all my closings keeps getting postponed until next year. So I'm like, I'm trying to get to that 200. My goal was 300. And my goal next year is like almost 500. But I'm doing all the actions to get there, right? And sometimes it amps up, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just working with it.
GCI is what?
Gross commission income. Sorry, GCI is gross commission. So like, it's your money before you take out anything, right? So that when everyone says they want to make 100,000, I tell them they should double it and not make the mistakes I made. Because if you want to take home 100,000, when you do like the math on it, you need to make usually at least 150 or 2. So if you want to take home 100,000, because there's this thing called taxes, and yeah, tax man, don't get caught making payments. This is my favorite question on this page. How do you prefer to work with people? How do you think that affects your lead generation efforts? I love being people's friends, and I love being good and kind to people. So I make those calls. I'm just trying to brighten their day. If they hang up on me, sorry you had a shitty day. Like, I'm having an awesome day. Like, I just want to call them, send some love, ask them how they're doing. If they don't want to talk to me or they're weirded out that I'm calling them, That's their issue, not my issue. I'm gonna keep doing it, and they might not turn around and work with me this year, but they will next year. Have you guys read, I know you threw out, there's a book that I've read several times called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Almost every great coach that I've had, we had a guy in here, we're bringing him back, Steve Woodrow, incredible at scripts. If there's an opportunity to take his class, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. They talk about this book and how incredible it is, but his very first thing, the very first scroll talks about, I live my day with love in my heart. Is that how you say it? I see this day as love in my heart, something along those lines. But yeah, so I call these calls and I'm just friendly to them. They're going to ask me what I've been up to. Everyone's going to ask you what you're up to. So be prepared to answer. And I go hiking. I'm a firearms instructor and I sell houses. So I just tell them that. I go, just hiking, shooting guns and selling houses. And then they'll ask about one of those three. They'll always circle back to real estate or they won't. Or they'll be like, are you trying to sell me real estate? I go, why are you trying to buy? And I just confront them. And they'll laugh or something, just like you guys did. I'll be like, cool. I go, we don't need to talk about real estate at all. That's someone I'm calling. I just want to keep in touch and keep in contact with you and be your friend. If it's I used to bartend, so I'm having issues with overlapping, making sure that it's not seen as I'm being nice in a flirtatious way. So I'll use the word friend a lot. And if someone ever asks you to meet up for dinner, unless you are interested in that way, I would stick to lunches and coffees if it's all about business or meeting in the office. Just word of advice, not to conflict things. Just from my awkward situations.
How
So-
did you transition from those interactions? Because I'm service industry background too, so those interactions are.
Oh yeah, and for females, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just call and say, what's up? Say, hey. And then when they start asking me about stuff, or if they're like, oh, let's go get dinner, or let's go get drinks and dinner, or is it date?
Yeah.
It's just plain simple. I don't know. My guy friends, what's that? We can go shoot. Yeah. We can be romantic all you want. Yeah. Hikes, guns, selling real estate. And I say it pretty fast and I ask them what they've been up to, right? I kind of do it. This thing kind of shows what you need for prospecting, right? If you prospect and you're actually making calls or whatever you're doing for activities, we'll go over those. You get immediate results, it's proactive, it's time intensive, right? If you're doing marketing, it's more of a long-term results, it's passive, and it's money intensive. It usually costs money. We're lucky that we have Command and that we have Keller Williams has a partnership with Facebook, and it's pretty amazing, and also with Google, so it's pretty amazing what we can do as a company. Why do you guys think it's better to be prospect-based versus marketing-based?
Well, when you're starting out, if you don't have a lot of money to invest into marketing, all you gotta do is invest your time and still get paid. And it'll pay out pretty well compared to whatever marketing you're doing.
The report curve also is, not quite as steep, I guess, in the sense of they already know you, they.
Know you, trust you, and like you.
Right.
Those three terms, yeah. Know you,
And
trust you,
so
like you.
essentially, with marketing, you're essentially having to build that.
Marketing is gonna be a lot more filters, right? You're gonna have to figure out what they are. They might call you. I've closed people from marketing and weird shit that I've done. I've had people just go on I've gotten stuff from out of state that's been random just over time. It happens. But yeah, so I see making calls as immediate results, proactive and time intensive. How many people have spent realistically more than 5 hours last week making calls? Solid 5 hours, not making a call, putting it down, scrolling for a while, doing whatever, and then making another call, maybe getting 5 calls in an hour. Who here has made more than 5 hours of calls last week?
Sure, what's the question?
Did you make more than 5 hours of calls, solid calls last week? No, it's no one, right? So here's a little pain versus pleasure. 95% of people that get in this business do not renew their license after 3 years. And the big difference is your time on task. If you dedicate just 1 hour a day to making calls, even if you just made 10 calls and no one answered, and I know for a fact, because I feel it sometimes, when you're making calls, you're like, hope they don't answer, hope they don't answer, hope they don't answer, right? Especially the calls that, like, I'll have calls come up in my database. I'm like, this guy's a jerk. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. And then I talk to him and his life has changed dramatically since the last time I talked. We have an incredible conversation. He's like, dude, my uncle is looking to buy a house. Can you sit down with him? I was like, yeah, awesome. Here's my calendar or whatever. Set an appointment, this and that. Give me his info, put us on the joint text and send me over. And I go do it right now so you can see me respond. And then they do it and then I got business. I've gotten business that way for sure. From the ones I didn't want to call because they were just shocked that I called and cared. Usually the people that you don't want to call are always the people that you get business from. It's so weird. So yeah, make those calls. So if you guys just dedicate that time to it, start easy. Start super easy, right? Like start with how many people are in your phone. Take that number, divide it by 12, then divide it by 4 days. Call those people. You can do DT, D2, yeah, do your database too. Or and it says alphabetical things for last names. If you worked in a service industry, you have people's last names, it's the bar they worked at, or like whatever, some kind of description of them. I had the weirdest ones. But yeah, so if you do that stuff and just call them and say, hey, I just want to call. Most of them in the beginning won't call and respond. If you do that once a quarter, the next time you call, they'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't get back to you, this and that. Then they'll start following you on social media. It gets them to want to get engaged in you because you're putting energy towards them. They want to reciprocate. So being a good person and loving gets you business. We're talking about database. How many people have their command set up? Who doesn't have their command set up? You don't? You're brand new. Have you met with Steven yet?
No, I'm just scheduled a time now.
Okay, perfect. Schedule as much time with Steven as you possibly can. Schedule weekly stuff with him. If you get to a certain point, just be like, hey, if you don't, I got to the point where I didn't know what to ask him anymore. I was like, hey, what do I need to do next? And he was like, Bryan, you're fine. Just work your stuff. There's a point where he was like, stop calling me. Like, so like, that's where you need to be, right? And he has to talk to me like a child, which is okay. I mean, I'm not good with computers. I'm working on it. I'm actually getting really good at it someday. I'm just keep telling myself that. But yeah. So your database centrally stores information. You need to update it regularly, not is updated. You need to update it regularly. When I have phone calls with people, I'll put little notes. I also have in command, it has a place for their Facebook. So when I call people, I try and fill out as much information as possible. We're about to get into tags in a second here, but I guess not yet. It's just teasing on database. I'll put tags on it. I'll put all sorts of stuff on it, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I'm very descriptive on what happens. I'll also click on their Facebook and see what's going on. If they just got engaged or married, or if their dog just died, or something like that, or they just got dumped. And saying like whether it's a man hater thing or all women are evil or whatever their thing is that they're projecting right then, I need to know that before I call them, right? So I just kind of click on their Facebook, it pulls it up, I can see what's going on. If they're not on Facebook, whatever, I'll just call them and send them love, right? If all else fails, I'll just send love. So you guys didn't know we were gonna talk about love so much, right? You have a valid contact information. This is what leads. Valid contact information, you can have a one-on-one conversation where you are seeking permission. You're seeking permission, right? A contact is someone that you have permission to call and have a two-way conversation, right? This way, lead contact, they don't really know you, and you're asking if you can call them. Once they give you contact, then you have rapport and you receive permission, you can have a two-way conversation. Kind of like what I described before, right? If it's a lead, there's quarterly touches, right? Quarterly phone calls, 4 touches, 12 monthly emails, newsletters, marketing. That you might not have all this information sent to them, right? This is This is in your packet, I think, guys. So if you guys are trying to take notes, it's on 7. Six is where I was gonna talk about the different lead gen. Sorry, we'll go to 6 real fast and go over it real fast before we go into this. So this one gives you prospecting versus marketing. Look at you, so fancy. There's a lot of them. The ones I highlighted was past clients, allied resources, which is like a lender, something like that. Get business from them, teaching and speaking opportunities. Get involved. See what kind of things you can do for your clients and your friends. If you get a bunch of people saying that they can't fix credit, find a credit fix person. My lender happens, he came and taught a whole class, a C credit class, and we're gonna do another class just for our clients. And we will definitely make sure it's very clear that we can't be poaching each other's clients, but if you have friends and family that need credit fix, you're providing value. You're like, hey, you wanna hear about how to get your score up? This guy's gonna come talk for 2 hours and explain everything. It's free, just come show up to my office. And then we can like set up a class and stuff like that. And we can do something as an office to help all of our friends and clients. And then when they're like that, he's gonna talk, he's a lender. So he's gonna be like, yeah, talk to me about getting pre-approved. We're sending him business. He's gonna know who he got it from. And he's gonna send it back to you guys and make sure that you guys get pre-approved and then move forward. Because not every person you talk to is someone that's gonna buy or sell now. They might think they're gonna buy next month, but they don't even have a job and they think they can buy a house with unemployment, and then they don't even have a credit score, but they just bought a new car at like a 20% interest rate. And it costs more than almost they make a month. That's like almost the exact example of someone I talked to this last week. You're gonna get those, that's fine. Means that they at least have the drive to buy in the future. So we just need to change the trajectory and send them in the right direction, right? But teaching opportunities are great. It talks about advertisement. I just do social media. It has a ton there for you guys to look at. Now we'll go on to page 7. What's up?
The capturing through the smart plan, it like, seems like there's a limit as to like how many people you can put in one smart plan.
You can I have 800 people on a birthday smart plan.
And I just try to like stop and find one.
That's what smart plan. Did you put 500 in at once?
Well, they're already in the contact. So I've been
You can
trying to
only enter
add-
in so many at a time. So you have to go like, I think it's 50. So you can only click on 50 people, add them to that smart plan. If you're doing the bulk thing, you can't do 500 at one time. Does that make sense?
Well, I was trying to like get everyone into like that.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to go through each page. Like, so whatever tag you have them on, and you should make all those people into a tag, right? So say birthday smart plan for me. I have B-Day. It actually is a trigger. So anytime I put B-Day on, someone immediately puts them in the birthday smart plan. Easy way to follow up with that in the future. But when you're starting it, I would go to put everyone as a tag as B-Day. Say I didn't have the thing on there. Every day as B-Day. Then if I go click on B-Day, it'll pull up every single birthday person. And then I have a birthday for. Then I just click on 20 to 25 to 50 people instead of going to the 500 people on the screen. Like click all, bulk action, add them to that smart plan. And then I go on next and next. But it should,
Add like,
you should be able to, there's people that have 20,000 people on the same smart plan. So Yeah.
If you add 500 people in one day.
no, I'm telling you,
I'm just saying, let me finish the question. Will you have to follow up that, like, are they all gonna happen at the same time, or is it smart plan?
Depends on the smart plan. Depends on the smart plan. I put 200 people a day on that text smart plan that I did, and they all went out that day.
And then every time, so you'll get that reminder that 200 people at the time. Like,
If
won't
it has a
automatically
task,
gather.
if it has a task for you, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time sensitive.
Is that what you do for the birthday tag then? Essentially just sort of task all of them days, and that's what you do at the beginning of your day, or?
Yeah, so birthday smart plans is my favorite one. For a lot of reasons, you get their address. You're calling them on the day that they're the most selfish. And yeah, who doesn't love? People can say they hate their birthday, but everyone loves presents. Like, come on.
But is that what I'm talking about though, that you essentially set it as a task so that you get that reminder, or? do you
The
do
smart plan
like-
gives me a task. So I put the tag, I'm big on tags and we're about to get into them. Tagged B-Day as a trigger in the smart plan. plan. And all the smart plans I use are ones that are already in the system. I didn't make any of
So
them.
you can set it up, if you put feed data on that person, it automatically sends it to that smart plan.
Yes,
You can set
if you
it
put
up.
the tag on it, it triggers it. There's a trigger for it. So if you add that tag, it triggers that smart plan. Like, yeah, it's awesome. So if I do address, it triggers.
I had
a
one set
neighborhood
up where I
nurture.
tagged everybody, but then I was like searching for that tag and I was like, but you can set it up that way.
So when
Once
you,
set
if you
it-
already have a tag for everyone on there, set that smart plan to have that trick as a trigger.
Okay,
So new people you put it, but it won't put the old people. So you have to go through and do exactly what I said. Just click on that one tag and pull up only people with those tags. And then what you can do is just go through and do 50 at a time.
okay.
And she's saying she got stopped at 500. I've never gotten stopped at 500. So
But if you,
that might be a glitch in the system. They are updating our system constantly.
Yeah.
So it might be a glitch, but you should be able to put as many as you want.
okay, and then I do an open house and I get somebody new and I put the feed data there automatically.
I would make the tag for the smart plan, make the smart plan that you're gonna put them on specific to that, and make the tag specific to that open house. And then I'd put that tag as a trigger. Then when you enter them into it, then I would do it before the whole system starts.
Okay, sweet. That's cool.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah.
Like,
That's way helpful.
yeah, it takes a little bit of prep, takes like all the work out of it. Then you just have to answer people. So if it's a lead, it means that they haven't responded to you, 4 touches, for quarterly calls, 12 touches, emails, newsletters, market reports, videos, 2 touches promoting direct mail such as magnets, whatever. And then 1 touch annual event, whatever you want to do. This is quarterly calls too. It says 4 touches phone calls. And then instead of putting them on a monthly thing, you put them on a bi-weekly email. And then 2 events or get-togethers. This could be just lunch, whatever. I always ask people if they want to get lunch. And then promotion, direct mail, magnets, such things. I've yet to do this. I just ask people at lunch, or if they want to come, I teach a concealed carry class, if they want to go that. And then I had mostly just do these 2. I get a lot of business from it. And I'm working with Leslie and Art, and they're creating all this for me. So when I call on the birthdays, let's talk about the birthday smart plan, because I'm losing half the people on Zoom, but that's all right. The best thing about birthday smart plans is it tells you 6 days before their birthday to send a card. So I text them and I say this exact thing. Do you care if I send you a birthday card? And they're like, of course not. Why would I care? I'm like, people are silly about their birthday. What's a good, I don't ask them for their address. I've learned not to be like, hey, what's your address? Ask, what's a good address for me to send it to? Because people are uncomfortable of giving their address out, right? People are creepy. It's a weird world. Some people don't want to give out their address. I've had people give me their work address. I don't care. I don't care. It's even better if they get their work address, because then when I send them a card, and I send brownies, but like whatever you send a card or brownies, whatever it is, when it gets there and they open it up, they're gonna be like, oh, look at what my friend did. On the back of the card has like, I use this company called AM Cards, has my, like a business card on the back. On the front, it just says happy birthday. I use the phrase awesome all the time. So it says keep being awesome, or keeping your awesome self, something along those lines. I also text everyone that. So then I send out a birthday card, I get their address, I put it in command, I then go to Realist and see if they own or rent. And I put owner or non-owner for that address as a tag, because I will eventually do smart plans specifically for owners to get them onto HomeBot, or non-owners. Hey, why don't I help you buy your first home? Right? I'm data mining. Data mining. Your database is your data bank. When people sell a business, they don't sell just like the structure of the office. They're selling their database. If you go to the dentist and all of a sudden you have a new dentist, that dude sold his book of business to a new person. Your database, you can sell eventually. So definitely treat it like you're building a bank, because you are a bank of people. That's also why everything we do, Facebook is so big. The cookies that we do when we click on things, I don't know what they call it, cookie, I guess because it leaves crumbs. I do love cookies, but like it leaves like a little thing of like where you were. Everyone now is all about information and data mining. And that's where Zillow and all those other people are capturing stuff and trying to put us out of business. They're trying to capture so much stuff and so much info. That's also why they bought Dotloop and now Showing Times. So they're buying all the things to put us out of business. They say they're not. We'll see. Zillow.
Really?
Yeah. They bought showing times. That's why we switched from dot loop.
We switched to what?
From dot loop. We used to use dot loop when they bought it. So every closing is, all the contracts are done on, we used to be done. Like over 80% of contracts were done on dot loop before. And then Zillow bought it. Why do you think Zillow bought a contract company? To get all that information. So when you're doing birthday smart plans or any of these, you're pretty much data mining. You should be doing it for your people. Because who's going to treat them better than you?
When you mail out brownies and cards, do you do it to your core or to the whole?
I stick to core and or someone that has a birthday smart plan. I have a mix of people in core and over. But yes, I accidentally had my part-time assistant go onto Facebook and just message 300 people that are having their birthday in August. If they care if I send them a birthday card and then ask them for their address. It backfired because those people were closing that month with me and they knew it wasn't me. And then I sent out like, because it's at least $2 a card. It was like $300 worth of cards to people out of state. So every master comes from a disaster. I learned a huge lesson. Like some of these people I don't even know. I don't know when they became friends with me on Facebook. I don't know who they are. Super weird. But yeah. So if you stick to your database, the people in your phone, it works. So with that, it'll tell me then when to just put a social post, I'll do that. And that helps me with my algorithms on their Facebook, so I come up sooner. And then also it tells me to call. I call them, sing them happy birthday. It's super weird, super awkward. It's hilarious. I have a horrible voice. It's great. So one of my favorites, that was way too long about birthday smart plans. I'm trying to get you guys out of here soon. Okay, so managing your database. We just talked about that. Contacts, custom tags, smart views. Smart views are when you go to this filter, and you can make a filter for certain things. You can make smart views where you just click on it comes up. My default now is my core, my smart view. You want to track your interactions and smart plans. So just the more notes you can take, it takes time, but the more notes you take, the better information you have, the more valuable your database is. And it is by far it's going to be your everything. It will definitely make it so that you don't have to work that much in the future, right? Add contacts to your database. Does everyone know how to add a contact in Command? When you do that, it's going to go into customize tags. So the tags I use is I have their first initial, and it says like A first, or for me, B first, and then B last. I put a tag for each one. If I decide to do DT, D2, like Bowl teaches us, versus how I do it, where I just do in order, and I do 25 calls 3 days a week. I used to do 20 calls or 17 calls 4 days a week, but I'm leaving Friday, so I'm just doing it. You guys will know on Wednesday when I do that. I'm taking on more responsibilities, so that'll be announced. Tags, colors, you can go back and edit your tags. I had birthday spelled out. I had Facebook spelled out. I abbreviated them all because then it was just like, it's like paragraphs of tags. I like own versus rent, own versus non-owner, because they could not be paying rent. They could be like living with their parents. They could have a weird situation where they're taking care of one of their relatives and they're living for free. So you don't want to assume they're actually paying rent. I also have birthday. I have a tag for if I have their address. I have a tag for if I have their email. I do not have a tag for if I have their phone number, because I think 95% of mine have phone numbers. And then I have a tag for where I met them or how I know them, because people in my phone used to say the bar or the time frame of the bar I worked at. So like I have that. I have what they do for work, this and kind of stuff, like what kind of category they do. I'm pretty hardcore on tags. When Lindsay Jackson took over my database for art and hers program, she was overwhelmed by the tags I had and she loved it. It made her job way easier. So if you end up outsourcing stuff, it's all about creating systems so that you can eventually outsource stuff. I don't want to my goal is in the next year that I get to the point where I'm only making phone calls and servicing business. I'm not servicing buyers unless they're investors, and I'll probably outsource that as well. But that's my goal, is to just be making calls. Lead genning, for this and also recruiting. Those are my two calls. I'm gonna be doing nothing but a lot of contacts. So if you guys have people that want to join our office, let me know. Or you think they want to, shameless plug, you know? How you see things. So interaction, it'll tell you on the side what they've done. If they're using your app, it'll tell you what houses they've looked at. It's kind of overwhelming. This is when we get into opportunities. So if someone says that they want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I put them in opportunities. I put them in the cultivate stage for buyer or seller. If they want to do both, I put one for both. And I slowly move them along. They go from 5% to 90%. If you guys look at my, I can share in a second after the slide. If you guys look at my potential versus probable of what I'm gonna make in the next 12 months, potential is over like, it's like almost 1.3 mil, and probable is like 250 something or close to 300, right? And I'm just trying to narrow that gap and get that bigger and bigger, but I'm also trying to build all my opportunities. I'm trying to get my opportunities. My goal is to get the opportunities closer to 2 mil by the end of the year and really amp up my calls, and then to get my probable pretty high up. But as you move them along, you see your money grow and you're just like, yes, it takes a lot of stress out of you when you know that there's money coming in.
Are those touches what call?
Yeah, of course they do. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you have to contact and follow up. So like set my schedule as Mondays, like today, I will spend most of the day calling people that are in opportunities, that are in either cultivate, because cultivate is a stage in opportunities. I'll take them from cultivate to appointments, from appointments to active.
Okay.
So I'm trying to set appointments for the whole week. I'm trying to set, my goal is always 4. I'm happy with 2. Because I have a pretty good success rate. I'm very clear on what they're coming to meet me for. Like, you're coming to meet with me to walk you through this, and I will have a contract ready for you. I don't say in those terms, but pretty close. So to active, to under contract, to close, right? And I'll show you guys that towards the end. And then you guys all be like, oh, where's this train? Because that's how it works for me. Smart plans are great. So the birthday smart plan, I went in there and you can edit the text that you send out. It doesn't come from it comes from a Twilio phone number. I then put in, if you need to contact me, here's my cell. They'll respond usually to that text. And sometimes they start texting me from that instead of my normal phone number. That's definitely an iPhone thing. I'm joining that cult soon, so I'm not talking crap about it. I already ordered it. But like, it is an issue that I see with it. But with that, I then can see Kelly, the app Kelly will tell me, which is being replaced by Command on Demand, which will be on your phone soon. You'll be able to do everything on it. They've just had some problems with interface, and that's why some things get slowed up on Command. They're like constantly working on Command. It's constantly getting better. Today is the worst it'll ever be from today. It's not the worst it's ever been, but it's the worst it'll ever be, right? It's constantly getting better. Are some, and I'll show you guys my actual stuff. Share a little overshare. What is some of your guys' ahas?
I think for me, it's really getting systems in place, because I'm, like you were at your beginning, just kind of all over the place, getting really creative with things and.
Yeah, don't get too creative.
No.
It's good to have creativity,
Yeah.
but you want to use the systems first. Don't do it.
I think my problem is I didn't really know.
You guys are really like a year behind me, not 4, because. So getting systems in place is your big aha.
If you don't lead generate, you don't have business.
Don't lead generate, don't have business. You guys? Just big sign. I'll take it. It is a lot. You guys? Mr. Profound?
I gave it all that. You already got everything.
Yeah.
You guys, an aha?
Yeah, same thing. No lead gen, no business.
Yeah.
Learn contacts and business.
So here's a question for you guys. Command's gonna help you guys get there. Command you can work on in the afternoon. You can work on it as you go and make calls. Who promises to make at least 10 calls to people in your phone every day for the rest of this week.
Calls, messages, and
New people every day. You can't call your mom and your 9 best friends, right? I call my mom with my wins. Like me getting in real estate changed me and my mom's like, it's bartending, a pretty risque place. So she's very happy I'm not there. But she when I call her with my wins, she loves it. So
Calling you count.
what's that?
Calling you count.
Calling me what?
Calling you count.
No, call me does not count. Definitely does not count. Tracks? No, but I would have made just as much money there. I have a friend that worked there and he crushed it. But no, it was a place, little small place called Shopping Noise, for like 6 years. They're clients of mine too. I'm looking for that for them. Any other ahas? Trigger with the tax, yeah.
All right, I got one, and it's not mine, it's what it is. But you
Okay,
said,
yeah.
you said this one, that a date not prospected is a date.
He says it all the time. Yeah, day not prospect is a day not worked.
Oh.
Whatever, same thing. But he says it to me every day. Day not prospect is a day not worked. And it's true. So here's something that I heard from James Shaw. He's a bold teacher. He is hilarious. He's high up in KW. If you have a chance to take any kind of classes from him, I highly suggest it. Last time we did, like, it was kind of weird because in Mega Camp, he was really serious. And he usually, like, he has a dad podcast. Like, he is hilarious. But he talks about, like, us being realtoring all day. All day we do is realtoring. We're working on figuring out how to get an inspection done, which takes 3 seconds to make a phone call. We spend all day long filling up with crap that usually takes an hour. For follow-up, for deal check-in, I have on my schedule a check-in on deals. I have about an hour and a half every single day dedicated to that. And it seems overwhelming sometimes because I'm a big task list, especially about a new listing coming up. So I just put one on the market last night. It's coming soon, goes live Tuesday. I still have a bunch of information to get and this and that. I'm not stressed about it. I have that time frame to do it, and that's why I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it during my lead gen time. I also show my clients my schedule so that they know that I lead gen in the morning. They're like, oh, well, why can't you help me with this? I go, I'll make you a deal. If you need to use 30 minutes of my time in that morning, you need to give me 3 referrals. 3 people that you know want to buy or sell in real estate. And that will take care of my day of lead gen to do this. And then if they think like, oh, this and that, I go, look, let me tell you this way. Do you want me to be stressed about getting your deal done just to close and make the money? Or do you want me to be service-based and just do the best job I possibly can for you and not have to stress about the money? And then they'll be like, well, obviously I want the best job possible done. I go, perfect. So if I lead gen in the morning, I don't have any stress about where my business is coming from and how I'm going to pay for me and my family, which is just me and my dog. So sometimes imaginary friend. Yeah, imaginary friend, super expensive. Buys all these guns. Wastes all this money on random shit. But yeah, so they just need to know that if you explain things why it really means something to you, they're gonna understand you a little bit better and trust you. You have to be vulnerable at times. You don't be afraid to tell them the truth. Like, be like, hey, I need to work on my business this time so that I can service your business in the afternoon, not worry.
Even better with some.
My grandfather used to say this. He was married for 70 years. He goes, never lie. I go, why? He goes, because if you lie, then you never have to remember anything. I go, what? He goes, you have to remember a lie. You know the truth. So you don't want to waste all your memories of your life trying to remember a lie or remember what you said to your clients. If you just are so honest with them. My client called me yesterday and she wanted me to turn on the lights for one showing for her house that's vacant. And I wanted the curtains open, lights on this whole weekend. But she felt uncomfortable with that and wanted them closed and turned off. And I go, I'm not gonna be able to make it up there to do that. I was very clear. And she called me, she goes, oh, what are you doing? I go, hey, we did get a showing today. We got 2 showings coming up. Can you go open up the blinds and stuff? If not, it's no big deal. They can figure it out. They're gonna know if they like the place, whether it's dark or not, right? And she's like, yeah, where are you at? And I was at the Broncos game. I go, I'm at the Broncos game. She goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I also let every one of my clients know that I don't work Sundays. You know, I used to do Monday or Tuesday when I was on a team. I used to take Tuesdays off because Mondays is kind of follow up on contracts and stuff like that. I take Tuesdays off because I had to work Sundays. I had to be doing showings and stuff like that, right? I refuse to do it. I just won't. Like, I need one day just for me, right? Because we will burn out. So do you guys want to talk about schedules? It's not in this class, but anyone on there? You guys have all hands? No one's screamed on. They're just like, got you guys. It's all right. I'll share some stuff with you guys. You guys okay with me sharing? You guys want me to share on Zoom? You guys need to speak up now. Otherwise, I'm gonna end the Zoom.